Hello and welcome to Schedules Plus Tutorials. Today we're going to take a look at how you can create rides for a set of attendees for a particular event. So for our example, we're going to take a look at a specific event in our calendar. So we click on Calendar and we're going to go to the April shopping trip. As we look at the April shopping trip, we're going to look at the attendees list, and you can see here there are a number of attendees that are already registered. What you're going to want to do is you want to, at some point close to when the event takes place, probably the day before, you're going to come to the event register of attendees, and here we have 3. And you want to add rides because you want to create the individualized rides for these people. So you simply click on Add Rides. What happens then is it opens up a pop-up for you where you can now create rides for the April shopping trip. And what it does is it's going to put in the time of the event, and then you can identify what the purpose is for that event based upon your particular categories. And if you expect a return ride, you can put in the time for that. Typically, this is not that kind of case where you're going to add return rides. Typically, this is a van or a bus that's going to take a number of people from one place to the other, stay there, and then bring them back. The default pickup would typically be your center location, and your return would be the center location. Now, if the individuals that are attending, Sherry, Laura, or Deb, want to be picked up at their home and dropped off at their home, you can select those as options here too. Or you can do it one at a time. So you have choices over the pickup and drop off of each of the people in the list. If you leave it just as the default, it would say people are coming to your center. They're going to be taking the ride from the center to the location of the event and then returning back to the center. So you can do it either way. Rides from the center, there and back, or pick up people at their homes, return them to their homes, simply by clicking on those check boxes. The other here is that you're probably going to want to put a units in of 2. So you're 9 times out of 10, you're not going to identify a return ride, because all that does is it creates the first ride to get them there and then a second ride to get them back. It's just more management, when in fact you've got 2 units of service. So just create the single ride from and to, even though your driver's going to be bringing them all back. And the other thing is it's going to create this ride with the link for the event in it. So it's going to be real easy for you to search and look to see which riders are connected to what event. If in the list you have a particular person who doesn't want to ride, you would simply uncheck the Create Ride box. And then in this case here, only rides would be created for Sherry and Laura. Let's go ahead and save. Now it has created those rides. And if we take a look at the detail here for these rides, we're going to see that the rides shown here are the 2 rides that were created. And we can see here it automatically filtered to the event we're looking at. And we see Laura and Sherry in the list with the pickup and drop off as expected. So one of the key things here is that you have filters in your rides view that will enable you to easily see which event you're going to view in terms of the riders connected to that. Because at some point here in the future, on this particular day, you are likely giving rides to many people for different purposes. So if you ever want to go to that day and just find all the riders for that particular event on that day, you can use the For This Event filter and filter to the specific event you're interested in on that day. Now, one of the other things typically that you're going to do if you're providing rides to large groups of people for a particular event is you're probably using a vehicle. So you'll want to reserve a vehicle on that day simply by clicking on the vehicle and add a reservation for the vehicle for the period of time that you're going to have that vehicle checked out for this activity. So we can go ahead and do that. We've now reserved that vehicle. And when we close out this page, we're going to see now that there are vehicles available, and we want to go to the Assign by Vehicles page. And again, filtering for the particular event to just show those people, we would be able to now assign that vehicle to the individuals for that event because we've filtered to that one particular event. And when we save that change, those riders now are connected, if you will, to that bus for that particular date. Now, when we first created these from the event, we could have added the vehicle there had the vehicle reservation for the 29th already been created. So you have choices. You can either create your vehicle reservation in advance of doing all of this and then add your attendees very close to the event, or add your attendees and then later when you're ready, connect the vehicle to it. So that's a really quick view of how you can create a grouping of attendee rides using the attendees list and the Add Rides feature. Thank you for joining Schedules Plus tutorials.